Okay, we're back on YouTube. Cheers. That was an aggressive greeting. I don't know how to do intros and outros, obviously. Anyway, let's do the drums thing. Okay, we need to do a little trick. So, I don't know if you've ever listened very, very carefully to Mick Gordon's drums. They sound like drums, but they also don't sound like drums, like acoustic drums, I mean. Do you know why that is? Because our boy, I would assume, based on what I've heard, and also on what I know is the practice a little bit from a lot of critical listening in sort of modern metal genres as well. Sometimes you layer in with the kick and snare, the actual sort of acoustic kick and snare, you layer in an EDM kick and snare. We're going to do that now. Hopefully, my computer will be able to take it, because usually it messes things up. Moreover, it'll probably mess up our mix quite substantially. So we need to be very, very careful. When people talk about gain staging and stuff like that, this is the stuff that they talk about. So, in order to do this, first of all, I'm going to need to use my groove agent. So you're going to have to grab your sampler, right? And I'm going to send you to the kick sum. You're going to grab your sampler, the one that you have available to you. In my case, in Cubase, I have the groove agent that did not crash my Cubase this time. And this is sort of a stock plugin that is included with Cubase. Now, why do I have the sub-reinforcement over here on my drums? I have no idea. What we're going to do now is to basically just copy. We don't have song over there. That's 12 minutes. That's not going to be... Okay. So I'm going to copy the MIDI that we have on our main track so that it sort of matches. I'm going to paste it over to my EDM kick, right? I'm going to duplicate this track. And again, pray that my Cubase does not crash. I love Cubase. I've been using it for many years. It's my favorite DAW. It is my DAW of choice. Fortunately, sometimes it also likes to mess with me. Now, most likely because my computer is not that able to sort of handle it, but that's going to be fine. Snare, sum, okay? So I've got my kick and my snare over here. Now these I will color differently to kind of remind me that these are synths, right? And here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over to our groove agent, and for C0 over here, we're going to pluck in a little kick sample. In order to do that, I will create another track that's not going to do anything. I'm just going to call it drum samples, right? Now, luckily, the GetGood, and don't get me wrong, the GetGood drums that we're using are super, super capable of handling this song. However, if you want to get that on-point sound, at least for me, if I want to get that on-point sound, I need to bring in some samples. I think this was done more so on Doom 2016 rather than on Doom Eternal. On Doom Eternal, the drums sound a lot more sort of acoustic. But let's see. Yes, Future Sessions is what I want from Samplify. This is a sample pack I bought, and it's fantastic. I use it on all my stuff. Yeah, this is what we want for our kick. This is a very, very aggressive kick, so we need to be very, very careful, yeah? And for my snare, what I'm going to use is, there's a dubstep snare. Yes, we're going to use this. Okay, Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into Groove Agent and we're going to say, hey, you go over there. And there's your kick. Now, now, we need to turn it all the way heck down. And let's just listen to our drums. So, let's go with just our kick. You see, that is a lot of kick. Minus 40. But look how much it's changing. Like, I'll just leave it in for 2 bars and then take it out and just listen to the kick, how it changes substantially. It loses a little bit of thump, a little bit of aggression, right? And since this is Doom, you kind of need all the aggression that you can carry, right? I'm going to boost it up. Yeah, it sounds like a bit more scooped, which is fine. Now, for the snare, oh boy, this is going to be minus. I'm going to turn it off completely and then bring it in. Right, and let's just go with this bit over here. Oh, we didn't actually assign it. Never mind. Hold on. Just a sec. Sorry. Let's turn this down. And let's go into Groove Agent and let's bring in our snare over here. And our snare is going to be D0. Where you at? Where you at? There you are. Okay. Let's see if that's how that is sounding. Funnily enough, our snare is so aggressive that the EDM snare cannot keep up with it. Like, how crazy is that? But that's gonna be fine. Let's see if it's actually adding anything. Yeah, we've made our snare super aggressive. Let's see how our drums sound now. Boop. When everything comes in. Unfortunately, I think we need to change snares. Yeah, it's very audible in a very, very unpleasant way. Let's check out Awaken. Pads, drums and perk, snares. Futuristic. These are just snares with a phaser on them. Really? Layered. Let's try this one. How are we feeling about this one? Again, we have to be very, very careful so that it's not audible, but but we have to make sure that it enhances our snare. So let's go to our drums. Right? It's adding that crack, it's adding that sort of initial impact, and that's what we want. Right? And the reason why I've waited so long to do this, even though we risk messing up our mix and our master so far, is that I want it to be sort of at least 99% sure of the drums, right? Because if we're going to be changing drum parts a lot, we have to change it in 3 places, unfortunately. There's some clever kooky stuff that we can do with routing, but I did not set that up. And Hold the phone. Yeah, no, I didn't set it up, and I don't know a quick way right now to set it up. So let's just go for it. It messed up in the same place when we first played it. Okay. I need to take down that snare. It's very, very tricky to layer in snares like this. There's another thing that we could do is we could try to layer in an extra sample from GGD to try to make it fatter, because currently like the snare seems a little bit dinky, like it needs more body. One way we could crap. One way we could handle that. I hate it. I hate when I hit Control Z and it does this every damn time. I need to change that mapping. So I messed around with the snare sum, unfortunately, and there's no way to go back. Yeah, it feels like it needs a bit more oomph, a little bit more tail. So if we go into the transient designer over here, we can actually add in a bit more sustain. I also feel like I have too much reverb on it. Okay, I'm pretty good with that mix. Over there, it's sounding pretty darn slappin'. Another thing that I want to really do is let's not... I did back off from my gain, actually. So what RMS am I sitting at? Okay, I think we're good. Let's move on, shall we? My mix is actually sounding pretty okay, I think, and my master as well. It's very aggressive. It's very loud. I feel like we could have a bit more impact if we reduced our gain, but at the same time, I worry. So if I, for example, got more punch and more detail on the hits over here, I went with my dynamic perception a bit more, but rolled back on the gain a little bit to make it less block of cheese like. I feel like I'd have more dynamics and more sort of headroom and more impact from booms. There's also stuff that I think is kind of sitting in where the low end of the kick should be sitting, but I still distinguish the kick pretty well. Okay, so I think my mix is okay for now. And my master, we roll back on the gain a little bit to give a bit more headroom, so that when we have sort of dynamic content and booms and our kicks and our snares and stuff like that, that they hit harder. Hey, Tensor Freitas, welcome! How is it going for you? I hope you're having an awesome Monday. Good morning, or good day, or good evening, depending on where you are. It's good. It's going good. We're doing detail work right now. Just sort of cleaning stuff up, adding stuff in, trying to see if we can make things sound a bit more interesting. I think for the effects, I'm gonna go with a... Yeah, there is a pretty wide thing there. For the lead synths, just to make sure that I've got enough space for the lead synths as well as the pad synths, we're gonna go with a little high pass over here. It's holiday! Nice! Portugal! Nice! So we're continent buddies. I'm gonna have to roll off a bit more of the sort of low end, like extreme low end of the lead synths over here, and the high end of the pads is gonna be a bit more extreme, yeah? Just to make sure that we don't have any sort of extraneous low-end content that we don't need. For the bass track over here, right, we are taking out that little thing over there. We are making room for the bass, for the kick low end. Let's do a little high pass over here as well on the bass, just to make sure that we're sort of cleaning stuff up. And I'd really like to make another little dip over here, just at the 60 hertz where the kick sits on the bass. And let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, you hear what a big difference that little dip in the bass made? Because it made a ton of room. Also the synths, the little EQ moves that we did, because it made a ton of room in the sub-lows for the kick. So now you can actually feel it thudding and pumping. The kick, I mean. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that I might have went a little bit too far, because the drums, like the kick drum, seems a bit disconnected from the rest of the... We need this on Spotify. Thank you, TensorFreas. Yes, well, I think maybe not today, but I expect the next session we will actually finish this song, which means that we will do a Spotify release. So I think I went a bit too much. So let's give back a little bit more of that sort of low end to our bass over here, so that it meshes a little bit better with the drums. So 0.53, that should be fine. Kadinger, damn! Welcome! Thank you. I'm glad you like it. You guys are awesome. Right, so let's continue to work on this. Let's continue to sort of make little adjustments and details and stuff like that. So this bit I'm fine with. We're gonna leave it as it is. Right? Simple, clear. It's just riffing. Like, we're headbanging, we're doing the metal. It's fine. I hope they will too, Kadinger. Thank you. Oh, you guys are just gonna make me just smile like a dummy right now. I'm just gonna be like, hey, you lovely, lovely people, with your amazing energy. Thank you. So, for this bit, it's actually like... Doing the metal is a new dance craze I can get behind. Do the metal! Anyway, this little bit went to market. No, this little bit seems fine to me, although... Is anybody hearing that? It might... Hold on. Ow. Like Are my ears sort of gone a little bit? Or do you hear like a little woo thing in the song? You know what it is? It's the problem with our bass. Our bass is not sitting block of cheese. That's what's happening over here, and that's what's messing it up. If I look at my low end over here, just look at the meter over here. If you see it dancing around, it's not good. See? This needs to sit pinned. This doesn't need to move. This is not okay. Let's go to our G clip over here, and let's try to clip off a few more frequencies. So we've got two clippers, right? And what we need to do is to make sure that we have a block of cheese style low end in here. Let's mute the highs and the mids. Yeah, you see? Okay, this is probably gonna mess up our mix, but I'm gonna have to do it like this. What? Excuse me? How did we get here? How did this... Oh, it's because I'm doing it before the frequency. Let's try like that. You hear that it's bumping up in volume? And this is happening after we've sort of done the frequency thing. So this thing is messing me up. It's mono, it's mono. Then why? I do have to ask. Okay, so our output is like crazy town over here. Let's use another limiter. Boost the input, boost the output. Let's try a very, very quick, sort of longer release tail. Okay. You see it's a bit more static right now, but it's not good enough. There you go. That's how your bass should look like. Like your low end of your bass, this is how it should look like. Now let's hear how that sounds. So let's just start out with the guitars, bass, and drums. So I messed up like my whole low end up until now, and nobody better than I. We're good. We are so good, it's not even funny. So now, if I just listen to the bass and the drums, they should be sitting much better together. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds great to me. So, moving on. Again, this bit I still feel needs to be as straightforward as butter, right? It just needs to be dumb and in your face. This is how we need to start, right? In my opinion, right? We'll do all the little sort of layering and weird stuff coming up, but I think actually this is okay. Okay, I just had an idea. We're gonna need to make a lead synth and just go like... Basically. That's what needs to happen over there. So, and I'm just gonna sort of add in tracks randomly, and then I'm gonna search for them, and then I don't know where I'll be, and that'll be just fine. So I'm thinking Anna 2. Yeah, Anna 2. Lead synths. Lead synths. Let's try the Beautiful Dread lead. Like, we basically used this in all the songs, I think. I might be remembering it wrong, but I'm pretty sure we used it in all the songs. Where did I create that track? Oh my... Fine, we'll put it here. Makes more sense to be here anyway. So we've got riff A, and this is riff B. So riff B lead, right? Right, in order to get that sort of effect, let's go in here. Okay, so that's a fourth. We are going to take those down. Okay. Take them downtown. Actually, this needs to come up from down low, I would wager. So pitch bend, no, over here, and do it like, but it has to be the other way around. No, this way, yes. Let's turn it down in the mix. We'll do the actual tone of it in just a second. You have to be 30-second notes. Moreover, I think. Right, and this is not like a main lead. This is a sort of layered effect lead, right? That just... Dumb sound, once again. So dumb. Like, I can't even. Let's take out the plates and the reverbs and the plates and the phasers. Right? And it sounds dumb. But how do we de-dumbify something? Did I not render you out? I did. Yes, no, maybe? You're a render. You're a render, Harry. Yes, so I can turn you off, obviously. Okay. Clean up your stuff, Dan. Okay, so for this, in order to make this sound properly, we're going to need distortion, obviously. Fuzz. Fuzz plus. Fuzz plus. And we're going to need to take out some of the high-end content a little bit. Just the sort of extreme stuff. Not too much, just a tad. Actually, let's put it like that. All that did was just make it louder. Let's try a cloner on it. We've been using this today a lot. Let's see what it sounds like. Right, but we need to be careful not to mess with the timing of it. So the delay actually needs to be boop, just a tad. And let's leave in a bit of the original. Okay, I am sold. These initial notes can go frickin' themselves. They're not good. But afterwards... Right, in order to make it stick out a little bit more... let's turn off the filter. And again, this is a little teeny tiny thing that you can't really hear in the mix, right? All it's doing is creating that sort of extra sort of movement, right? To make sure that it actually does that properly, let's put a trans gate on it. Let's shift it over to 16th notes. Right, and we're gonna sort of export it at -28, and we'll sort of change it along as we feel. Render it out. Right, and these are the little touches that I think matter in the end. Even though a listener would never say, hey, that little thing you did over there, I noticed it. I mean, not never. Listeners are much savvier than sort of people give them credit for, but it's not like the first thing where it's like, oh, that little sound that you can barely hear unless you sort of listen to it for the third time. But it'll give a sort of overall impression that, hey, this song is cool. And in the end, that's why we're here, to make cool stuff. Cool. That out of the way, we can turn this off, turn you off, and done. Cool. Now, okay, next bit, I guess. Oh yes. This is gonna need a lot of work. Hold up. There's several issues we need to sort of fix in here. The first one is, of course, this impact. This impact, I never liked it. You can hear it. It annoys me to no end. Let's turn it down. Leave it in as an extra sort of bump to the general boom. General boom. Do you hear that digital clipping? Right? It's not from the impacts themselves. It's because the low-end content that they're producing is clashing with a lot of extra low-end content we have, especially these little pads in here. that I absolutely adore, but unfortunately we're going to have to clean them up. Now, we do have some EQ going on them. Some general EQ going. It is there. Methinks we need to go a bit more drastic with it, right? Because, I mean, there is a lot of bass in these sounds, right? Let's see if that cleans it up substantially, or if we lose all the sort of low-end impact that we have in these. You see how it's a lot cleaner now? There's no digital clipping right now. Cheers, Alan Pearl. Yes, exactly. So sometimes you gotta be more drastic with your EQs, right? You just gotta have to get in there. The smarter thing would have been to just cut out the low end of the, like in just the bits where the booms hit. But because their amplitude is so high, so wide, I don't think I could have cleaned that up much better than that. Moreover, there's another hidden secret to this. If we cut out the low end from most of our instruments in this little intermission part, when everything comes in at once, right, in the riff itself, it sounds so much heavier because all the low end comes back in, right? Give it a listen. Pay close attention to the low end. Actually, I can show you this as well. Let's look at our, not our multi-band, but there's like a frequency, right? Check what happens over here when everything comes back in. Right? You see there's space from the boom in here. Yeah? And this is the trick to mixing. Like, this is one of the tricks to mixing. Like, if you don't know how does a professional mix sound? Like, how do we get it there? Sometimes you can use your eyes, right? You can see that, for example, there's great separation in my kick. Like, my kick is sitting over here where it should be. My bass is over here with some of the guitars and stuff like that. So you can see that very clearly on the frequency spectrum. Moreover, when we're in the intermission part, right, you can see that the boom is coming in and like it gets so fat and huge, right, in this area. But there's nothing else in that area also sort of clashing with it and creating that distortion. This is what Mick Gordon meant. I mean, I assume that this is one of the things that Mick Gordon meant when he talks about how he mixes his stuff. That it takes a lot of separation and a lot of little moves to clean stuff up and make room for everything to happen. Keep in mind that we've got sub-booms, we've got low-tuned synths, we've got low-tuned guitars, bass, kick drums, all of this happening at the same time. So if we don't have good separation, if we don't have enough space for them, we will sound like shit.